It's Tuesday, the 31st of March, 2026. Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories, 5 minutes. Let's go. Story number 1, the federal government has announced a 3-month cut to the fuel excise, taking it from just over 52 cents a litre, halving it to about 26 cents in a bid to take immediate pressure off diesel and petrol prices. The move follows another national cabinet meeting as the Middle East conflict pushes oil prices beyond $115 a barrel and squeezes supply lines. Treasurer Jim Chalmers says the excise cut will cost the budget about $2.55 billion. The PM is urging service stations to pass the reduction through at the Bowser. The cut will start this week. It'll run for 3 months. And as part of all of this, the federal government's also going to reduce their heavy vehicle road user charge to zero for that same 3-month period, just to keep truckies operating.
Trucking, that's right. This is a clear pivot. Labor spent days resisting an excise cut, warning it was expensive and blunt, but politics and household budgets have taken over. The risk is that it becomes too hard to unwind. Once you cut a levy, people see it on every receipt. Putting it back in can look like a tax hike, even if it is simply returning to the previous setting. Also leaves a hole in the budget right when the government is trying to frame itself, Michael, as disciplined.
Indeed. Now, the decision, Sean, comes after a meeting of the National Cabinet yesterday morning. The meeting adopted a fuel security plan along with the states and territories. It has 4 levels. The first is plan and prepare. Level 2, which is where we are now, is keep Australia moving.
Level 3, which the government hopes to avoid, is targeted action. Albanese said that involves voluntary practical measures to limit fuel use. Level 4, protecting critical services for all Australians. Think of that as rationing. Ongoing supply disruptions would require government action to ensure critical users are protected, the economy remains open and operating.
How much are we going to pay, Sean?
After this, about $2.30 in Sydney, about $2.30 in Melbourne and Brisbane as well, about the same in Perth. So theory is from, sort of $2.50 something to $2.30 something.
Okay, all right. Moving on to story number 2 now. Certainly linked to story 1, though, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has called for more certainty from US President Donald Trump on the objectives of the war in the Middle East. The PM said that while he had nothing but contempt for the Iranian regime, he wanted to see more certainty around the objectives for the war. He wants to see a de-escalation. He said that the goals of preventing Iran developing a nuclear weapon and degrading the opportunity that Iran engages in military action have substantially been achieved. The third goal, regime change, was harder to achieve from outside the country.
That's right. His comments came as US President Donald Trump said he could take the oil in Iran and seize its major fuel hub off Karg Island, but added that a peace deal could be reached fairly quickly. Pakistan's foreign minister said his country was preparing to host peace talks in coming days, all very promising. However, Iran's parliamentary speaker said forces were waiting for American troops so they could rain fire upon them. Iran also threatened to expand retaliatory strikes against the universities and homes of US and Israeli officials.
All right, back home now for story number 3. Opposition leader Angus Taylor has rejected calls from frontbencher Andrew Hastie for the coalition to rethink its economic approach, shutting down suggestions that the party should consider a windfall profits tax on gas exports and wind back tax concessions for property investors. Hastie, he's the opposition's industry spokesperson, had urged the Liberals to adopt humility after heavy election defeats, arguing the party's primary vote was being cannibalised from both the right and the left. He said there was no medal for defending neoliberal politics and the coalition needed to listen to community concerns, including overhauling the tax system.
Then yesterday, his boss, Angus Taylor, he didn't support him, shall we say that. He said core economic principles had not changed, arguing higher taxes would discourage supply. He said if you want more of something, you don't tax more of it. Taylor insisted Australia needed more housing as well as expanded gas and oil development. He also blamed government approvals for constraining new drilling and extraction. The point here, it just highlights already emerging internal debates over the coalition's policy on tax and some really important issues.
Story number 4, Star Entertainment has secured a major debt lifeline with a new funding package reported about $550 million from an American private credit player. The casino operator has been under intense pressure as it tries to stabilise its finances.
Yeah, I think this is crunch time for Star under new management. It needs to move beyond rescue packages and find its own sustainable way. It's asked private credit to help. They can move fast when banks hesitate. That's what's happened, but it rarely comes cheaply. For Star and shareholders, the question is whether the new money buys time for a sustainable turnaround or just delays the next crisis.
Last one, story number 5. This one's really serious, Sean. An Italian authority is investigating beauty brands Benefit and Sephora after they appeared to adopt what the authority called a particularly insidious marketing strategy of using young influencers to market skincare to children. The Italian Competition Authority said it had launched an investigation into the brand's owner, luxury goods giant LVMH, for possibly attempting to sell anti-aging treatments to kids younger than 10. It said the company's actions may have helped fuel so-called cosmetic anorexia, an unhealthy obsession with skincare in young people that experts believe may well be on the rise.
LVMH said it would fully cooperate with the authorities, but didn't say much more, according to the BBC. The Competition Authority said the firms may have failed to make clear the cosmetics they sold were not intended for children, while appearing instead to have encouraged their purchase through covert marketing strategies involving young micro-influencers. The investigation centres on possible unfair commercial practices linked to the premature use of adult cosmetics, including, and I quote, encouraging the compulsive purchase of face masks, serums and anti-aging creams to children under the age of 10. Sephora, which is nearly 23 million followers on Instagram, more than 2 million on TikTok, has been at the centre of the Sephora Kids social media trend in which children share their skincare routines and purchases.
All right, there we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Tuesday, the 31st of March, 2026. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. And if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed, wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.